Hello and welcome to Tinto Yaps, that video where I have a look at all of the developer commentary, comments, responses and replies over the previous week and try and glean some little tidbits of information to pass on to you, my glorious viewers. Now, I am trying to hit 30,000 subscribers, and if you would like to help me out, it would be quite lovely if that could be done before, I don't know, before something apocalyptic happens and everyone is in much pain and suffering. So if that could happen, great. Let's just move on, because that was quite weird. Anyway, we have the Saturday building. Apparently, we have two buildings today, which is technically true, but also technically not quite true. Obviously, we didn't have one the previous week. But first off, we have the die maker, which you may think, hang on, Lambert. We had the die maker before, and that is true. That is true. We have the die maker right here. The numbers are the same. The numbers are the same. But what has changed is obviously the graphics of the UI has been updated. Obviously, this is the new version. We have a nice new art for the building itself. We have what type of building it is. Yeah, it is. It just shows kind of an advance in what the game looks like, and I quite enjoy it. I quite like it. So yeah, pretty cool. We also have the printer's shop, which also has some lovely art there as well. I'm not a big fan of this. These guys look a little bit stretchified. This is an upgrade to the scriptorium, which obviously we've seen before. That uses the clergy pops, whereas this one is using burger pops. So very cool indeed. But now, of course, let us start with the Tinto yapping about the personal unions that we learned about on Wednesday. And this was a very good dev dive for me. I very much enjoyed it. And we learned quite a bit. So let us see what else happens. Could the Iberian crowns then be a union type? I think it come a long way to adding more complex and complete dimension to what's going on in the peninsula at the game's starting stage. It's mostly a side topic. It's not something we want to go into today, but they kind of cover it in the future. But yes, it will be possible to have unique personal unions with unique features, and the Iberian Union is one of the plans. Perfect. And basically, you can think of other important historical personal unions in history. I'm thinking the personal union between Austria and Hungary, potentially, or the one between Poland and Lithuania, the one between England and Scotland. All of these personal unions, I think, are definitely in the running to have unique content, unique mechanics. All that would be quite delightful, I think. Are there any plans to represent theocratic PUs, like with the Grandmaster, the Teutonic Order, and the Prince Bishoprics in the HRE? So not yet. They are focusing on making it work on the dynastic level, and in some other cases like republics choosing monarchs as rulers, but eventually it could be possible. Looking forward to that. That would be kind of fantastic. And it's great that generic username here also gave an example, so it's not like the viewers need to think, oh, but did this ever happen? But, yes, it did. Here's an example. It's perfect. Will forming Spain require you to integrate Aragon through the normal union mechanics? So, there would be the conquest and diplomatic paths to form it. So, not necessarily being Castile and Aragon, because it also could be Castile plus Portugal, or really powerful Navarra. And in any case, the new mechanics for senior partners, this also means that it's easy to portray an Aragonese or Portuguese-led Iberian Union. More on that when they talk about Spanish-related flavor in the future. So, yes, it looks like they do go through the regular union mechanics. And there's another comment that we have a little bit later that also really delves a little bit deeper into this. Can you name your unions? Not currently. They're preset names. I kind of like the idea of being able to name them. The senior partner being able to name them would be kind of cute. Hopefully that is going to be a thing. With it being an international organization, does it mean you could technically be in different IOs that are also acting as unions? So can we have two unions at the same time? No. All PUs get merged into one. You can't be in different PU IOs at the same time. However, the levels of integration of each country in the union will be different, though. So, in an example where you have Castile, and they have Aragon, and they have Naples, right? Because Aragon and Naples have that PU, in EU4 at least. And then when Castile gets a PU over Aragon, they get Naples as well. Well, in this case, Castile may have Aragon at a certain level of integration, and then Naples might be on a certain lower level of integration. So that it seems like a really nice system to work that as well. Will it be possible for lesser partners in the Union to be able to take over as the senior partner using these mechanics? Yes. Currently it's solved through a CB, but they're planning on replacing it through a parliament vote, and that plays more organically. Love that. That's fantastic. So the Union IO is always led by the same country, and the Union Parliament can only be called by them. So yes, the senior partner of the Union may change, and also it is the country, the country called in the Parliament, but it's always the senior partner. It just depends on who is that senior partner. What happens if a subject's regent seizes power? Do they form a union, or is the subject integrated? If the regent seizes power and becomes a new ruler of a country, the country leaves the union. So be careful of your regents. Make sure you pick them well. What happens when a Republican ruler inside of a tag of a union dies? Does the tag leave? The Republic gets an event to select a ruler or heir of the PU as its ruler to keep the PU running. If it chooses a different ruler, then it will leave the union. Fair enough. That might be a way to, as Novgorod, escape the clutches of Muscovites. Is the quadruple union a historical or dynamic name? It'd be cool to see some unique union names that are dynamically generated from historical, cultural, or particularly dynamic circumstances like the Angevin, Austro-Hungarian Union of the German Princes, Joint Crowns of Ireland, the Baltic Union, etc. So this one is dynamic. They used it as an example of how it would look if an existing union at the start of the game, so Hungary and Croatia, gets into a union with two more countries, Serbia and Bosnia. I like that. I like that they did it. Can we get our personal unions to ally another nation that we don't ally? So think of the Margrave of Brandenburg allies Cleves with this title, and then allies Berg as Duke of Pomerania, and can only call one into offensive war because Pomerania blah 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 blah. Basically, can my personal union ally somebody that I'm not allied to? Yes. Last week, Pavia had a not-so-fun situation because when he was playing as Hungary, the lesser partner Croatia decided to ally with Serbia, which was his rival and a country that he wanted to attack. I have a feeling that he did attack it, and he made it his personal union because of the whatever comment here. This is what we had right here. But, maybe. What is the 23,000 ducats for? And he is talking specifically about the 23,000 ducats that are in the quadruple union here. It is the PU's treasury. This is what is used to call these parliament sessions to action, so you can increase centralization and all their stuff. But what happens to that money? What happens to the union contribution if the union gets split up? It gets distributed among the members, although if the only member leaves and the union remains with more countries, the treasury stays in the union. Also, if a union becomes centralized and one country integrates the rest of them, it gains the entire remaining treasury. So this quadruple union here is about to get real rich if it manages to integrate Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia. Maybe I didn't comprehend this bit, but there's one thing I'm unclear on. If, say, Austria is the senior partner in a union with Bohemia, will all future unions that Austria enters fall under the same IO? Yes, they would. They would be in the same union, but they would be at different levels of centralization, as I said earlier. You need to put additional effort for the newcomers to the union to get them to the same level of centralization. So the example I gave, obviously, was the Castile with Aragon and Naples. Even if you have Aragon at the highest level, Naples might not be. You need to put some effort to get them up to that same level. You mentioned that AI power, the highest great power score, will seek to implement the senior partner law. What if the player is part of the union, but an AI power has a greater great power ranking? Can the player still seek to implement the policy, or is the senior partner always the one with the greatest great power score? So you can propose it and try and convince the other countries in the union to vote for you using the regular diplomatic actions. Bribery, basically. I do not fully understand what it takes to pass union reforms. Suppose you pay as Hungary and as Croatia at the integration level of 2. Then you get Serbia as another junior partner. Will I need to get 50% support from the Serbian states to catch them up, or just 50% of the states from the entire union? You need 50% of the entire union, of all members. So in that particular case, as it's only Serbia who needs catching up, bribing their estate would be 100% support. Fun fact, if you have Serbia and Bosnia in the PU and both need catching up, Serbia is 63%, Bosnia is 37%, which means you only need to bribe Serbia's estate to get the issue through the parliament and raise both of them up a level. Now, suppose the union falls into a union under Austria. What will happen to the integration progress and policies? So I assume you mean the Austrian ruler becomes my ruler, which means, because obviously personal unions are not subject situations, so there is no under. It is just another PU happens. In that case, your union gets absorbed into a new one under Austria. He used Pavia, be consistent here, buddy. Come on, buddy. Progress and laws will be lost as it's a completely new union altogether. Is there a dynamic system for naming personal unions? What if we fully integrate a union partner? Can we get Denmark, Norway, or Austria-Hungary tags? There is an event for some pre-scripted name changes with flags too. With that being said, I could see adding something like that relatively easily. Lovely. How is it determined which country is a junior partner, which is a senior partner? It's whoever proposes the law for seniority becomes the senior partner. Cool stuff. Why though? And why is it more than just Christians that are becoming personal unions? Have any non-Christian states ever become under a PU? I can think of only the Ottoman Caliphate. Well, you gave one example, so... But Pavius here saying, they've done enough research of the year of 1337 to get the knowledge that there is life happening outside of Europe. Crazy. Who would have thunk it? You know, that is truly a mesmerizing coincidence. They have 5 scripted non-European PUs as a result. Very cool. I like that. Do we have to deposit the money in the personal union IO, the treasury that we have here? Without exception, can the non-senior members refuse due to disloyalty, or can the senior to stop payments for a time because they wish to focus on building? So there is a slider for the contribution, and there is a minimum payment to be done, but it's still a matter of balance. So we'll see how much we end up putting in. Maybe one could use the union treasury to fund constructions and other thingies. I like that, thingies, in the union members. Could even put it behind a specific law. I think it could be an interesting expansion of the system beyond just the parliament calling fund, and would allow for more management of the definitely equal partners of a union by the senior member. I love this idea, and Pavia does as well. He's bookmarking the suggestion. Big fan. I hope Pod's suggestion gets implemented, because I love this idea. Question. So is a partial unification not possible? If I'm Castile, I have Aragon at my max integration level, but I just gained Naples. I can't unify with Aragon until I integrate Naples. Partial integration is possible. Yes is not... This is wrong. Isn't it? Yes. He's saying, is partial unification not possible? Yes. But it is possible. You can integrate the country or countries that are more centralized, and the rest will remain in the Union at the same integration level they were previously. In this case, Castile would integrate Aragon, while Naples would stay as a separate, non-integrated member of the PU. Perfect. Love that. How does the unification work, though? Does it take time? Are there certain requirements, costs, or is it just a law you need to pass through Parliament? So you need to pass all of the laws up to the final centralizing one, each one taking some implementation time. You also need to have the money in the Treasury to have them passed, and you have to convince or bribe the PU members to pass them. So it takes time and resources to PU members. If Great Britain forms as it does historically, I wonder why you care. I assume it will be done using the Union mechanic. But if, for example, England conquers or subjugates Scotland, am I correct in assuming that the formation of Great Britain will happen through some other means? So, either you can use the Union mechanic, or you can conquer and subjugate them. Either way will work. You will be able to form Great Britain in either case. And finally, for this dev diary, what happens in the situation if you declare war on Serbia? Does Croatia break free and fights against you? This one I love. I love this reply is amazing. I have Serbia and Croatia in a personal union. Sorry, I have Croatia in a personal union. Serbia is my target. I want to attack them. Serbia and Croatia are allied with one another. In most games, that means that you would lose Croatia as an ally. Here, in this case, it's a personal union, so it's a little different. But Croatia would break free. No, It doesn't. It will fight against you, and there is a peace option to break the personal union with you. But if it's not enforced, the PU will continue after the war, where the relation among the two countries worsened. That is awesome news. That is awesome, awesome news. I love this, as you can tell. Big fan of that. Personal unions can fight amongst themselves while remaining in a personal union. Fantastic. Absolutely glorious stuff. All right, now we have, obviously, the dev diary on Mansa Musa, the Mali Empire. And there's some pretty interesting commentary and content and stuff in here as well. So, first off, sell Mali. Why do you want to play as Mali? Rob asking why he should play as Mali in EU5. Pavi's response: being the mightiest empire of sub-Saharan Africa, developing and colonizing the surrounding lands, earning huge trade profits, while also ruling a very culturally and religiously diverse population and facing a challenging disaster on the go, would be good enough selling reasons for you? Mayhaps it would be. Mayhaps. But yeah, no, this, I would argue, this kind of pitch could go at the start of all the flavor dev diaries. Just give it like a 1-2 sentence pitch, like, this is why you should play this country. That might be cool. That might be cool. But anyway, there is evidence that Mansa Musa was already dead in 1337 and his brother Mansa Suleiman was in power that you guys must have missed. Bit arrogant, but whatever. Also, will there be a special building for the University of Timbuktu? So, apparently he died in 1337, yes, but in which month? This is what we don't know about, so we decided to go with starting with him as a ruler. I'm fine with this. But this is not all. There is another comment. There is this comment here. He goes on to say, he was saying that there is evidence that he was already dead by 1337 and the year 1332, which you guys seemingly missed. Again, this is like accusatory. I don't like this, Benjamin. Keep it. Nah. Maybe they did not miss it, and they knew all about it, but they decided otherwise. I mean, yeah. Probably saying, oh yeah, there's a debate about 1332 or 1337. For those interested, there's the wiki entrance that links to academic works, and they've decided upon the most commonly accepted date of 1337. So yeah, I don't really understand why the assumption would be that they missed the lesser accepted version, like the least popular, like, death date. Like, whatever. Moving on. How many states break away during the decline of Mali disaster? So besides the breakaway countries coming from the regular rebel mechanics, there are unique events for Tuareg, Fulo, Kabu, and Songhai splinter countries. I wonder if that means, obviously we know that you can choose to play as Songhai with these events. Can you choose to play as the Tuareg, Fulo, and Kabu as well? I wonder. That is a... I'd be interested to know that. Tooltip for the Mandakalu Cav is broken. It says upgrades to infantry instead of Cav. I'm only bringing this up because it's something that I mentioned in my video. So yeah, that's good. That is being looked at. That was loud music. Sorry. All of the unique units of Mali unlockable in the Age of Renaissance? It seems like a lot. Also, am I crazy, or can levy units become standing units? So yes, as this is a period, as this period is the zenith of Mali's military power, it's also a gameplay tool to fight the decline of Mali and its consequences. But for this specific case, the Mandakalu levies can become Ferrari regular units. It is a rare, unique feature, or just very unique feature. How unique? It is literally just unique in the most absolute sense. It is only them. I think it should be more, honestly. It's currently not, not more special units have access to the promotion system. It is something unique in the game, but it is scriptable. It also means it could be expanded in the future, and it also means there is modding potential there, which is awesome. I like that. But I think it's a cool system. I don't know what units it would fit for otherwise, but definitely I could see that being utilized more frequently. Thanks to DevDar, I'm curious, given Project Caesar simulates internal politics in more detail than EU4 did, what was the reasoning behind giving Mali a specific disaster for a period of internal political decline? What parts of Mali's historical decline did you find that Project Caesar wasn't able to capture just by giving Mali a weak ruler and letting the regular systems play out? So, before I go into this, I will point out that I think this kind of, not accusing watered down here of this, but I do think it falls under the same instance of people who are, and you saw this especially with the Victoria 3 build-up, saying that they don't want flavor content and then everything should be completely generic and let the systems play out in the way that the systems do. And if you can't get historical outcomes with the generic systems, then you need to upgrade your generic systems. We saw that a lot with Victoria 3 and it led to a terrible game. So definitely more unique flavor scripted content, I think, is fantastic. And I don't care if, like, obviously you have your generic events for when it happens randomly, but if a country in history had something specific happen to them, especially when it's very close to the start of the game, 100% that should have specific, unique, flavored, scriptable content. And I don't give a fuck if you're complaining about railroading. I don't care. Those rails they're already there. The path to that decline is already there. Just again, this is not a dig at watered down, but it is commentary that I've seen quite frequently, and I really dislike it. Flavor is good, actually. It leads to good games. No flavor leads to bad games. Just putting that out there. But Pavi here saying, the country evolved from being the mightiest sub-Saharan empire in 1337 to becoming a marginal country 2 centuries after. It is such a strong historical narrative that fits very well into their nudged historical flavor content, also creating an interesting and different game loop for some years. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. Whoever this is, you're wrong. You're wrong, this guy. Why did Mali deteriorate, or at least diminish, after Mansa Musa? Paradox grand strategy games are at their best when they illustrate why certain nations acted as they did and why certain events happened. But after this dev diary, which is otherwise great, I'm no closer to understanding what it is about the succession that brought the downfall. It feels like there is a disaster just because there is a downfall in real life. What's the reasoning behind the pullback? So Pavi goes into the dynamic triggering conditions, showing the flavor of there after the disaster is triggered and functioning. It's not really answering the guy's question, to be fair. I don't think the guy's question is fair, because it does kind of fall into what I was just talking about here, but it is what it is. And obviously we've got the flavor description there as well. It's all interesting and informative, so thanks, but it doesn't address my question. I'm asking why it happened to Mali historically, not how you programmed it to fall. Your flavor description could apply to almost any state at any time. I feel like flavor should be... no, you don't get to decide this. Encouraging and nudging the changes in a country that are caused as much as possible by the existing mechanics, bringing that change to life through personalities, nomenclature, and choices, adding in any major events or causes that can't be caused by the game's mechanics. It's the flavor talk has a lot of 2 and 3, but it seems country's case the natural narrative of 1, so the nudges by existing mechanics. Again, why? Why this? I don't understand why you feel like this is necessary. So, Pavi here saying, there are multiple reasons affecting the governance of the empire, making it increasingly more difficult to be ruled and also weaker from external threats. You have a short summary in the Wikipedia. It's something they're working on for the game called Historical Info, which is cool. That'll appear in future Tinto flavor that they'll keep adding for such cases, such as the decline of Mali disaster, so the historical context is clearer for the player. Cool. I like that this is being added. It's like, oh, this is an event chain that happened in this country in Project Caesar. So here is a wiki page of which, this is talking about what happened, right? The decline of Mali is a thing in the game. So here is a link to a wiki page of the decline of Mali. Of course, you're then going to get chucklefuck saying, Wikipedia is bad. If you use Wikipedia, then bad. It's all wrong. And I don't know, probably calling it Wokipedia at this point as well, because that's a thing. Which, ignore those people. But moving on. Why is there an advance to unlock a starting reform? Because they're trying to create as much nested content as possible so the different game systems interact amongst themselves. Perfect reasoning. From my understanding, Mali struggled to assert full control of the extraction of gold, with the extraction being a responsibility of tributary peoples, and even struggled to limit the gold supply. Will this be represented somehow? Yes. There's a gold field in Nyani, so the capital, but after that, the control of your locations that produce gold decreased from 58% in Siguir, which is 2 locations away from the capital, to 10% in Diawara, 2 locations away from the border of Jolof. These numbers may change as they're subject to constant review, but the point is it will require effort and resources to assert full control and get the gold fields to produce at maximum capacity. Perfect answer. Love that. How much diversity should we expect for Africa? Will most African kings be decked out just like early Mansa Musa, with the Muslims getting Musa's new fit? So he is talking about what we saw in the Tinto maps before, which is giving us this image and comparing it to the one that we got in the Mali-specific flavor dev diary, which is this. He's changed his clothing. So what is the reasoning for that? So St. Dave may be willing, and he does, to talk more about how the system works in the future when the 3D models are even more polished. But this is a good example of how they can adjust clothing through the script of the game. In the first screenshot, Mansa Musa was using the Sub-Saharan African character and clothing models, while in the second we're mixing the Sub-Saharan African character model with the Middle Eastern clothing model, which they use for Muslim characters, something that works very well to differentiate culture and religion at a glance in the Sahel or India. The crown of the ruler might also be different from being an emperor or a king. And then that is further expounded upon by St. Dave. Each ruler's outfit is tiered roughly by country rank. Mansa Musa is wearing emperor rank in both of the screenshots, and he doesn't think there's many other emperors in Africa. They're also trialing Middle Eastern clothing on all Muslims. It feels like it makes a lot of sense when they see it play out in India and Africa, but they're open to feedback on that. Lovely. So that is the Tinto talkings for obviously Mali and for the personal union stuff, and also the Saturday buildings. I would like to know your thoughts and feelings and responses and replies and all of that in my comment section, because I do read them, and other than when I'm being shouted at, I love reading them. So if you would let me know your thoughts, I would be appreciative. Until next time on Wednesday, where I have forgotten all about what we're going to be learning, so I'm going to go and have a look. We are going to be learning about... Keep scrolling. Diseases! Oh, lovely. We're going to learn about some diseases on Wednesday, so if you want to subscribe to the channel, get notifications and all that good stuff, so you know when I've made a video on disease, that'd be great. So until then, thank you very much for watching, and toodaloo, bye-bye.